Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. I say this all the time, but every week it seems like we get another sign from people in the organization, in the team, that the Browns are moving off from the whole Deshaun Watson experiment. Whether it's Jimmy Haslam going a whole press conference without even acting like the dude's on the roster, or Myles Garrett basically implying that, there was still some dysfunction early, obviously referring to Deshaun Watson, but he has faith in the people in the organization in charge. So Jimmy, D, Kevin, Andrew Berry, so on and so such. It makes it obvious that quarterback is going to be one of the bigger focal points of the offseason. Like, it's just going to be a big deal. What they do with the quarterback position is going to matter because they're going to be moving on from Deshaun Watson as the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Browns have a number of options, right? You can go out in free agency and try to go get Sam Darnold and see what that is. It's a very risky proposition because who knows how much money he's going to go for. And it's always risky to sign a quarterback who played well with somebody else. We'll see what happens with Sam Darnold. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. If you're looking in the draft and you're looking for more than a game manager, there are 4 names that I think pop out that have at least the potential to be more than a game manager or a quarterback who gets you by for a couple of years, right? Shedeur Sanders is probably the most talked about one. Very talented player, very accurate thrower of the football. I have some questions about the competition level, right? He made the leap right as he played probably the weakest schedule that he's ever played in major college football. So that's a concern for me. There's also, the Deion factor, like, is Deion gonna, like, all that stuff that comes with all the speculation around Deion. From a fan perspective, it's annoying. From an organizational perspective, it could be a troublesome thing, right? Especially if you don't think Shedeur is a lockdown franchise quarterback. Like, I think he is somebody who has the chance to be decent. Then you have Cam Ward, again, a very talented player that I do not like for the Cleveland Browns. He's not somebody who does well in structure. He almost fights against structure. He has some amazing arm talent. He can throw the ball well, do some of that off-schedule stuff. But as far as like doing the structural stuff, that's a big problem for Cam Ward. Maybe Kevin sees that as somebody he can coach. Maybe Kevin sees that as somebody he'd rather not coach. I don't know. I'm not big on the Cam Ward thing, right? Jalen Milroe. This is hard for me because I love everything I read about Jalen Milroe, everything that I hear about Jalen Milroe. Like, I love the person. I love the athlete that Jalen Milroe has and the upside that he inherently has because of his athletic ability, his build, and what he has showed at times at Alabama. The problem with Jalen Milroe, I do not love the tape, right? Like, the tape is not tape that I love. And that's a big problem. He's a super project. Like, he's somebody that you're going to have to sit for at least a year. And then there's Drew Allar. Now, I joke around sometimes, call him Allar, but Drew Allar is the proper pronunciation of his name. He is from Medina, Ohio. And I don't know, maybe it's the Brady Quinn PTSD in me, but I saw the picture of him in a Kelly Holcomb jersey. It just kind of like makes you worried that that's what's driving people's will to want Drew Allar to make sense for the Cleveland Browns. But I'm here to tell you this. If there is one guy that feels like he could be a possible answer for the Cleveland Browns in this draft class, if he is in this draft class, there's no guarantee he's going to come out this year. But if he does come out, if he does declare for this draft class, this is the one guy I feel like would be number 1 on the Cleveland Browns draft board as it stands right now. Again, this is all tentative, but I think if this class, the Browns will look at him and there's a shot that he's either with Shedeur Sanders or above Shedeur Sanders in the Browns draft board. There's a lot of reasons for this. That's what the film is for. So let's jump into the film. All right. So this is what brings you to the table on Drew Allar tape, man. He makes throws. Really impressive throws. Look at that throw right there. Look at, he just threads that. I mean, this is Ohio State he's going up against, right? Like, this isn't random Big 12 school. This is one of the most talented defenses in the country. He does this under pressure and just drops a dot there. Like, look at that shit. This is what he brings to the table. We're going to look at 2 games here, Ohio State and Oregon. But he does this. And look, he's not even on a great base here when he throws this ball. You're going to see here, he's like kind of backing up. See how he works through the whole play too. That's another thing that I like about him, right? Works through left to right, comes back to it, okay, makes the decision, and then pulls the trigger. And then you notice his base when he throws this. It is not a great base that he throws this off of. He kind of short arms it. But he has so much arm strength that it just drops right in the bucket. It's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice thing for him to have, right? Another thing that you want to look for a quarterback is like, okay, how many different types of throws do they have, right? Because some quarterbacks can only throw line drive lasers, right? Like that's Carson Beck's tape. Every time I look at him, like he can't throw a ball with an arc to save his life. Same thing with like Jalen Milroe, who only throws rainbows. Let's look at Drew Allar, right? He gives you a nice little back shoulder here. Boom, come back on it. He should have caught that. He didn't. But that's another pitch that he has there, right? We saw the kind of like a rainbow fly ball that he threw earlier. But look at this one right here. Good feet. Great ball. I mean, that ball is perfect. That ball is literally could not be thrown better. Look at this. It's layered perfectly. I mean, more than enough space. Look where that thing lands. That wide receiver has all the space in the world to get both feet in. Right, that's a very impressive throw from Allar. Right, another one here. Right, a little layer ball. He has this one in his arsenal. We've seen it a couple times here. Right, throw it up, boom, back shoulder, and because 44 is a damn beast, Tyler Warren, he comes up with it. But again, good coverage here by 8-2 on Ohio State. But again, he has this throw in his arsenal. Right, he has this pitch to rely on, and that's going to help him complete passes on the sidelines, right? Again, look how he works through the whole play too, right? He's just not locked in on one. Starts left, works left, and then boom, comes back to his one-on-one. He knows he has it, throws it. Kept the safety occupied. Now this is against Oregon. Now we're going to see a little bit of a different throw here, right? This is more of him just throwing a laser, boom, a rope right there. That's what I mean by being able to throw a lot of different pitches. You'll see some quarterbacks come into the league and, oh, yeah, they got incredible arm strength, but they don't have a ton of variability, right? Like if you're a pitcher, you have a fastball, you have a changeup, you have a slider, you have a curveball, right? Well, if you're a quarterback, you got to have your arsenal of pitches. Now, I know Drew Allar, in an interview, says that he didn't have a changeup. But right there, he has that fly that he can throw. And then, boom, right here, throw that fastball. He's got a great fastball, right here again. Look, fastball, boom, laser, right there. And he layered that too. That's what that size. He does a good job of this. You don't see that many batted passes, or at least in these 2 games. I didn't see that many batted passes. Usually with guys who are naturally like as big as Drew is, like I think Drew said he was at 248, 250 last year while he was playing. He's down to 230 right now. But usually with these guys who are giants pretty much their whole lives, they're not good at avoiding batted passes, but he seems to have an ability to do that, right? Layers this ball over this line player, gets that ball there while still making it like hot. Really good stuff. Let's get the back angle of this. This is that Penn State. Penn State does this weird shit all the time where they motion out the quarterback and motion them back in. I absolutely hate Penn State's offense, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. Again, here, it's here, nice little fake, and like his feet aren't even great in this one. It's like it's this little weird shuffle step that doesn't feel like the footwork, but it doesn't matter. He just gets to his base, throws a rock. This one, he got real comfortable with his feet here. Everything broke his way there, right? Like he's super comfortable here. Look where this ball goes to. Just dart right there. We're going to watch this from the reverse angle. This is what his feet look like when it's comfortable to him, right? And this is a play you see the Browns run all the time, right? This kind of footwork on play action, a little shuffle out, slide. They love this. And then like he don't even got to step into it, man. He can just drop that one in nice and easy. Throws a real catchable football, right? Are you wide receiver friendly is a question for a quarterback. Do you throw a ball that wide receivers like to catch? It sounds ridiculous, but like there are quarterbacks who don't do that well, right? Like that was one of the complaints that some wide receivers had about Baker Mayfield, was that he throws too hard of a football. More relevant in this draft class, like Carson Beck. Yeah, his wide receivers aren't good. Carson Beck throws a real unfriendly football for a wide receiver as well. You can make the same argument with Jalen Milroe. Not the same argument, though, with Drew Allar, right? Like, look at some of these throws where he's just dropping them right in the bucket here earlier at Ohio State, where it's like, okay, here's a real catchable football for you, right? Easy to track, easy to get to, but in the right spot, you know. He puts zip on it, but it's not so much zip that it's hard to catch, right? Just boom, perfect, real catchable football, right? Another one, up, bam, real catchable. Now, I don't think he ends up catching that, and it's a little behind, actually, but still, catchable football, right? He's not trying to gas you or kill you with every throw. Throws a real catchable ball. Like that about him as well. Right here, again, just, oof, what a throw. This is a rocket. This is a rocket. He had some crazy throws in the Big Ten championship game, man. I'm excited to see what he does in the playoff. Honestly, like him having these games against Oregon and Ohio State where I walk away with a really positive thoughts about him after the game. I'm not going to, even if he has a disaster of a playoff game, it's not going to really change how I feel about him too much. All right. But man, if he plays like this in the playoffs, his draft stock's going to rise like instantly. I mean, look at this shit. He's throwing ropes. Again, he gets real comfortable in that footwork. Some of his best throws right here, right? Where he does a little shuffle, step, slide, gets in rhythm. This is the one thing I don't like about Penn State's offense. I think they did a good job of it here, but sometimes I think Penn State goes out their way to get him out of rhythm. But when he's in rhythm, boy, he's a nice throw at the football. All right here. Again, shuffle step. And he drops the nicest throw of the game. My goodness. And again, look at the footwork for it, right? Like when he can get himself in rhythm, and there's something about this footwork here that clearly gets him in rhythm because his feet look significantly better when he does this than most other drops that he has. But when he can get in rhythm there, man, look at that ball that he drops there. I mean, look where that throw starts too. This is opposite hash, field side, while drifting backwards. Look at that. And then just dart. It's very impressive. That's a big boy throw. That's an NFL throw right there. Like there's some quarterbacks in this class that don't have that throw in their repertoire or on their resume. Drew has it, right? And he's super young. You got to keep in mind that. Look at that throw. Woo. It's a good ball. It's a great ball. This is probably the craziest throw that he had. Again, gets this out. This is late in the game versus Oregon. Steps up. Guy draped all over him. Tell me who this reminds you of, right? I know who that reminds me of. That reminds me of Big Ben, right? Especially when you see it from this angle. I've seen this a million times, unfortunately. But yeah, I've seen this a million times, right? And then Ben just rockets one out, man. That's what this dude can do. That is the reason why so many people are so high on him for good reasons, right? And like he can still do some of this stuff even when his feet aren't perfect, even when he's a little bit off platform, you know, like right here, it's a little bit on the run. His arm strength, and again, watch how he layered that over Caleb Downs. Right? And these are talented secondaries that he's going up against. These are some guys. These guys are going to play in the NFL, right? Very impressive stuff here. Yeah. Good feel for the pocket. I will say, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, he has this habit of, like, when he fills out the pocket, to instantly kind of break right or left and throw on a run or run, instead of just like making that move and then hitching back up into the pocket. Now, that might be Penn State's fault. They have a 2-hitch rule at Penn State. So maybe they just, either you're running downhill or you're getting the ball to a running back, but they don't want you resetting in the pocket and hitching. Maybe that's a Penn State thing, and he's more than capable of doing it, but good feel here in the pocket. And then look at how he just avoids. It's a great throw. Great throw, right? So he has some of that off schedule on his resume. All right, so this is the first kind of off play for him in this video, at least. Now, I would love to know why he came off of this wheel right here. Maybe it's because Downs is there and he didn't love it, but once you see this corner come up, that should be a sign to throw that to the boundary and just like make it a his ball or nobody's situation. And he's looking right at it. So, would love to know why he came off of that, because it's clear to me that he did come off of that. And then he felt the pressure, still peaked for his running back. And again, would love to know why he came off of that as well and didn't throw it, right? But he pumped it instead and took the hit. Just be a little bit more decisive there. His eyes are in the right places, right? Like, that's where his eyes supposed to be, right there. Pull the trigger. Eyes back. Okay, if you don't like it, that's fine. Okay, pull the trigger here. And he didn't do it either time. Took the sack. But that's kind of something you would expect from a young player, And we'll see the pressure from this angle. Yeah, up the middle. Good job there by Cody Simon. Okay, this is incredible that he made this throw. Look at this. Look at this. Like, middle of the field, going back to his right. Like, not great feet here, but look at just the ball just goes with him, man. And 44 doesn't catch this, unfortunately. But, man, that ball's right there. And it's not like a bad decision, right? Again, when he gets into this footwork right here, this little shuffle, whatever you want to call this, I know there's a technical name for it, but this little play action kind of footwork here, he's really good in that. And like the Browns have been wanting a quarterback who could do that for like a while now, because they've tried to put Deshaun in it. They've even put like Joe Flacco and Jameis in it. This is what they want. Oh man, what a ball. Let's see, what's this one here? All right, another one, a little off schedule, resets up. See, this is what I want to see more of, right? He fights the urge to roll out, because I think Oregon at this point was kind of betting on it, right? So he fights the urge to roll out, steps up, he's about to run, and then he sees the middle. This is what gives me hope. I'm like, okay, yeah, with some coaching, he's going to get there. He's going to get there. He can play the game that you want him to play for the Cleveland Browns. If you just get the right, if you coach him up correctly, which I believe Kevin can do. Let's look at this right here again. Stuff you want to see, right? Top. Okay, a little bit of pressure. Stays in that pocket. Because he's such a good athlete, he can, good thrower at the football. He can rocket that ball in there. Cool. If he learns to do that while staying on his feet, even better. All right, let's talk about the athletic ability of Drew Allar. Because Drew Allar is what I call athletic with a lowercase a. Because he's a clumsy athlete, but he's a athlete nonetheless. Because he's 6'5" doing all this, but like he'll give you shit like this, where it's like, what? He's clumsy. He's clumsy, right? Sometimes he looks like a deer out there. Keep in mind, this is a big boy, right? 6'5", 230. Last year, he was at 250. It's a giant man, right? And so sometimes that happens, right? Because he's just giant. He's not Cam Newton. It looks more like it's more Jacoby Brissett than it is Cam Newton or Deshaun, right? Like this is much more in that vein, right? Like he run like Jameis. And look, I'm not saying he's a bad athlete or like a non-option to run the ball. There's been plenty of times at Penn State where he's ran the ball against elite competition, right? Like this is just he's a little bit clumsy, right? But he still can do some stuff, right? Athletically. Right here is a great example. He gets like a big ass gain here, right? Breaks free. He's not a bad athlete, so you don't have to worry about, oh, in the NFL, is he going to be able to kind of escape NFL edge rushers? No, I think he will. He has the size, and he's not a bad athlete. He's just clumsy, right? A little bit clumsy. There's a little Josh Allen in there, right? Where Josh Allen is big. He's a great athlete. He's a little clumsy. All right, let's talk about the stuff that he needs to work on here. So right there, we saw a bunch of throws where he can have his feet wherever, his body position, whatever, and the ball goes exactly where he wants. It doesn't matter. Sometimes he gets carried away with this, right? You see right here, look at how he throws that ball. Look at that. That is not a good place to throw that ball. His chest is all back. He's backing up. He backs up a little bit too much when he throws too. He doesn't step into throws as much as I would like him to. I think he needs to have that drilled into him. Step in, not back. So he does this too much. And that cost him a little bit of accuracy here. That could have been a touchdown if he gets that ball to him on time and on target, but the ball goes high, that takes it off time and off target. No touchdown here. Barely, no reception either. All right, and again, we'll look at the reverse angle so you can see the feet. There's no reason his feet should be this bad here, right? Like he just kind of rushed it. No. I'll blame that on him being young, right? Sometimes young quarterbacks don't know how much time they have precisely. There is some concern, like, hey, does he like taking hits in the pocket? Nobody likes taking hits in the pocket, but is he trying to avoid it, right? Is this going to be a Blaine Gabbert thing where your mechanics are always going to be compromised because you're always trying to avoid contact in the pocket? Like that's one of those where you just got to step into it, be the big ass man that you are, and throw that ball right into the defense, right? Instead of backing up. So too much backing up for him when pressure comes, you know. Right. This one right here is a great example where I would like for him to reset. Also, I think somebody needs to teach him just because you can do it doesn't mean that you should, right? It's nice that he could throw from these awkward arm angles, and we've seen it in his tape. He's thrown from plenty of awkward arm angles, fine. Awkward bases, fine, right? He has that Mahomesian-like ability to throw from like a lot of different trajectories. But that doesn't mean you got to do that all the time, and this is a bad time to do that, right? What you want to see him do here is just reset, right? Okay, they got there a little faster than you expected. Don't throw it. Just hitch them, right? Just hitch, get back up into the pocket, climb a little, and then throw it when you have a little bit of a lane instead of just forcing this at the top of your base for whatever reason. Right? He's really talented at throwing the football. I think he has some amazing arm talent. If he comes out in this class, he'll probably be my favorite arm in this draft. But also just know your limitations, right? Don't need to do that. So what if that corner was paying attention? He picks that off. It's a pick six. Don't need it. Don't need it. Way too talented to have to do that. See here. So what happens on this pick six? I think a couple of things happen on this pick six. First thing that happens is, he didn't. All right, so this one's a pick six. see what happens. And we'll look at the reverse angle because I think that's crucial here. Gets in, not really a ton of pressure, and then he gets caught being a little bit dry with his feet over the middle, causes a pick six. Again, it's nice to know that you can throw some of these balls without having to step into it because you have amazing arm talent. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. This is a perfect example of why. Because look, he doesn't really step into this throw. He works through it, gets to it. That's the right decision. But that ball is behind. If he throws that ball and he steps into it and kind of drives that ball in front of him instead of letting it float away, that's a big completion. But instead, it's a big completion for Oregon. Right? So he's got to refine his mechanics for sure once he comes to the league. Now, he doesn't have like a giant mechanical issue where I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna have to take a year off. Like, no, I think this is fixable like within the summer, to be honest. Like, if he is a dedicated enough student. But that's something that you see that you want to fix. Also, like, man, Penn State keep rotating him, like motioning him in and out the quarterback position. I get why they do that. I just think it takes him out of the rhythm, and you see his worst throws in these kind of situations too. Or like right here, like that's where you see his worst decisions when they don't give him any kind of like outlet or anything like that, and he just kind of has to chuck this ball downfield. Like, I just don't love the offense he's in at Penn State. And sometimes I feel like the offense, like, look at this, look what the throw that they're gonna make him throw right now. Like, that's the read. The read was either throw that ball all the way to opposite side downfield or throw that thing 10 yards across. Like, just incredible that that's like the decision. And like, he almost makes the throw. So yeah, I think once you get him in more of a standard offense, I think there'll be more there and you'll see more consistency out of him, because I think some of the stuff that they do at Penn State is just wacky. Like, what? Why? Yo, he almost made that throw. It's amazing he got it out of bounds. But that's Drew Allar. It's only 2 games I've looked at, so this isn't a definitive look at him, but like those 2 games, from what I've seen, I like him. Right? I'm interested to see if he does join the draft process, and if he does join the draft process, he'll be somebody that, you know, I'd be excited about if the Browns were able to get their hands on him. Now, where would you draft him? I have no idea. Like, we're so far away from that conversation. Right now, he feels like a middle 2nd round, early 3rd round guy, but he could have an incredible playoff, and now we're talking about him as a 1st round guy. Still some football to be played that'll determine all of that. But all I know is when I look at the tape, what I've seen, I see a guy who I think the Browns can work with. And like, will he be a franchise guy? I don't know, but I think that you can get a starter out of him for sure. And there's upside there that could be even more than just like a starter. So that's my thoughts on Drew Allar. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.